Welcome back to Noiretalk. Tonight, I got my girl, Dora Belle, tax and risk advisor for business and personal, but my personal financial guru. All things that I have questions about money or whatever. I'm like, Dora, what do I do? Welcome, Dora.
Hi. Hi, guys.
Well, I wanted to bring you on because obviously, like in the recent weeks, like having my business, or not even weeks, just months, I'm like, I have all these questions. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You've guided me through a couple of different things and areas. And I know during the pandemic, we've had so many, we've heard a lot of lessons from you via Instagram and some of your other clients on how to manage. But I kind of want to know like how you got to this point of being an entrepreneur, working in the finance world, and how you've been managing throughout COVID. So how long have you been doing this?
So I've had Tax Collective for it's almost 4 years. Mm-hmm. We're going into our fourth tax season next year.
Okay.
And I mean, I started, I guess from the beginning. I started at Ernst & Young right after college. Like I had a job before I graduated. I had a job, which was, I thought, oh my God, it's amazing.
That was great. Because when did you graduate?
It was during the recession. I graduated in 2010.
Me too. Okay.
So it was really difficult to find a job around then. But I started at EY. Thought I was, this is my dream job. I thought I wanted to be a partner. And I started working there, and I mean, I worked all the time. But I was in my 20s. I mean, now looking back, it's like, oh, okay, that's what you should have used your 20s for, because I respect the position and like just the professionalism that I've learned from EY. But I spent I was just miserable, just personally miserable, but also spending every hour at the office, like 80-hour weeks in July.
You had no summer.
And people actually think that tax season is just January to April. Tax season is all year round. We have in April, we have a March deadline, then we have an April deadline, then we have May 15th, which is actually for nonprofits, and then we have June 15th, which is quarter two. Then we have September 15th. Some people have an August 15th if you put your nonprofit on extension. We have a September 15th. We have an October 15th. And then we also have a December 31st. So right around Christmas, it's also super busy. That's the end of 4Q. So we're actually trying to estimate the year. It just happened yesterday. So it's just rough all year round. So I'm grateful for sure to be.
Yeah. To have had that training.
But grateful also to just not have to now actually live my life on my own terms. And picking and choosing what client I want to work with and keeping that in mind in my year. Because I mean, it's great. In the beginning, in year one of being an entrepreneur, it was work. Oh, I'm getting a new contract. Oh, okay. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. And I actually, in the first year, probably had the most contracts I've had thus far. And it was so many contracts that I actually end up losing them because I kept saying yes. And just thinking that, I can do it. And thinking it was my year one, so I'm too small to need an assistant, but also being afraid of that responsibility to have an assistant because you got to pay people on time, And I mean, that for me was, you have to pay people on time. You have to be consistent. And just that accountability was just another level I wasn't ready for. And I actually ended up losing contracts. And then in year two, I was sort of just reshuffling the way that I was going to do business. And then I started working really heavy on audits, which I learned, a ton. At EY, I worked on audits for high net worth individuals. But high net worth individuals have different kind of problems than our everyday small business type of person. It's actually, it's actually, just for me, because I'm a little tax nerd, but it's so interesting just how different just how different taxes are depending on where you are, what level you are in life. And so doing those audits, I got to know a lot of people at the IRS. I got to know a lot of people at different states, different Department of Revenues. And now I have like actually built a network where that is absolutely a very strong part of my business. And then year 3 was COVID year. So that was this year. And I mean, I don't think anyone would have expected that it would have just happened so fast the way that it did. And I think a lot of business owners, a lot of clients of mine realize that they need to have a savings account. Like you need to have an emergency fund, even if it only has $2,000 in it.
Right.
But it needs to have at least $1,000 in it. I mean, you need you need some sort of funds that's there that you do not touch if you're an entrepreneur. Especially just because, I mean, every day is it's a rat race, and every day is a different day for an entrepreneur. And so you could lose that client tomorrow. And how are you going to pay your rent next month? And I mean, waiting on the government, we saw what happened with that, right? Like people were waiting for their unemployment for maybe 3 months with no money. Wow. Some people just, even the guidance that was given to people, there was none, pretty much. And so people filled out forms wrong. There are still clients of mine who cannot retrieve their back pay from unemployment because they filled out the form initially wrong. And so they're just like fighting back and forth with the state. Not New York, but state of Illinois, just fighting back and forth. But now what's happening is the end of COVID. Not the end of COVID, but the end of the emergency of COVID for businesses. And I think people are sort of settling into their new normal and starting to realize that you have to adapt or you're going to fail or you're going to be left behind. And so now my business has completely changed in a way where people realize just how important my role is to their business and just how important it is to have someone there as your accountant, but also there to just answer any questions that you have as far as like just your paperwork goes, and just making sure that you have all the documents that you need in order to flourish. Right. And those would be things like your financial statements. Those would be things like actually making sure that your business entity was filed correctly. Making sure that you have a business bank account or a separate bank account, where I think a lot of people, actually a lot of new clients came this year, and I really wasn't sure if they actually do you just want to file because you want access to the money, or do you want to file because you really had a business? And I think that...
What do you mean by do they want to file to have access?
Because a lot of people are business owners but have never paid taxes and have never filed a tax return for their business, but they have websites and they're flourishing on Instagram.
Wow.
But they don't have anything set up. And so how they get paid...
I'm not paying y'all taxes. But like, first of all, I have so many other questions, but like, how far can somebody really run from not paying their business taxes? And then, because we have personal, I would assume many of us know this, we have our personal taxes and then we have business taxes, and they both need to be filed.
You know what's interesting? So I'm glad you made that point, because I think just as a beginning base that people get confused a lot is that your business taxes get filed with your personal taxes. Right. And so if you filed your personal taxes and you didn't include your business taxes, then that means that you did your personal taxes wrong.
Because they have to be filed first. Business has to be inputted first or at the same time.
It's included all in the same tax return. I mean, depending on your entity, sometimes it's a different tax return, but you would need that tax return done because it's a schedule that you get. Right. This Schedule K1 is used to file your personal tax return. So I did get a couple clients that we had to amend tax returns because, let's say they said, I never filed taxes for the business. I just thought I was going to do it later. but I want to be able to apply for the grants, the economic injury disaster loan. Like, how do I do that? And so we had to amend the return. So you want to make sure if you have a business that business income goes with the personal tax return. And also just understanding that that they are separate and that you should not be commingling funds.
Right.
And so you asked, how many years do you have? You have about 3 years.
Before they find your ass.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that process, after they've already found you, is a headache.
I'm sure.
Because now you're scrambling. Sometimes they actually freeze your accounts. Sometimes they just garnish your accounts.
Wow.
And then what happens is your business is deemed inactive. And you actually have to reinstate the business, which is separate from filing the tax returns. You have to file the tax returns.
And then
you have to pay the fees. Then you have to reinstate the business.
That's intense.
And you have to pay.
And even if you thought, because I know last year, I didn't really make much of a profit because I wasn't really doing much with my business. I was still working full time. I still filed, even though I didn't make much of a profit. Like, I had to write off like what exactly I spent all the money on and why I didn't make a profit. But like, I would be too afraid to not do anything.
Yeah.
You know, and so that leads me to my other question. When you were at EY and dealing with those types of people who were making different kind of money.
Yeah.
Like real wealth. Not like, hey, I just won lottery. Like, nah, y'all family done had money since before the 1800s type of shit. What was that transition like, working with that type of profile client to working with the types of clients that you want to work with now?
I mean, I think that it is an amazing time right now to be Black in America.
Yeah.
I think that we are flourishing. I think that like a lot of the people in my network and the people outside of my, just maybe even 2 degrees, you know, we're all very much linked to each other. And it's amazing the types of companies that's actually being started right now because of COVID.
Right.
And even before then, like, I mean, yes, it was different kind of money, but not to say that I don't see that for some of the clients that I have right now. Like, no, not right now. But I do have a couple startups that they were just given some capital. I also have a couple partnerships that they are purchasing lots of real estate in Philadelphia. And they're doing well. I mean, and then I have a lot of e-commerce companies similar to yours that, I mean, I don't think everyone's just in the house buying things right now. So.
It's wild though, because I'm like, so many people have been furloughed, and like no one really knows what's going to happen next.
Right.
But that Shopee Pay, that Apple Pay, it's like, fuck it, send me the candles. I don't care. I need the candle.
Yes, I need the candle because I'm home all day. So we need something. We need some kind of release. But yeah, it is. So I guess I would say, like, a high net worth person, the types of things that they are utilizing on their returns are not that different as far as what's being, the types of income buckets that are being claimed on the tax returns for the clients I have now. The only difference is actually like limitations and things like that, and like phase outs, because someone's income is higher, and so therefore your credit is reduced because it starts to like phase out because you make too much to be eligible for the full credit. But things like I have clients that are just trading art back and forth, and so that part of the tax return was something that I had to deal with a former client of mine at EY. His name was Stephen A. Cohen, and I swear out that Billions was written loosely on him, because the guy that plays in Billions it's just, he matches this guy's personality. Like, it's insane.
To the T.
Yes, but this guy, he is a billionaire. My first year at EY, my first tax return was a $2 billion tax return. And I remember I kept thinking like something was wrong because I was like typing in the number. I kept getting an error. We had to like call the place. We had to like call the tax people, software people, and they had to open up another character space on his tax return because he was making so much money.
So much money.
Yeah, $2 billion. And things like, and what he does, he is a venture capitalist. And so he's buying and selling a lot of different companies. And then he also has traders on the floor that are buying and selling different like stock options. So anything from like a future to purchase currency, or like a piece of Apple stock. So, but at larger quantities. And I have clients that do the same thing. I have a client who's a financial advisor, and he is trading other people's money. And then I have clients that are selling and trading trading art with their friends, which is another difficult part of the tax return.
I've never even heard of that. So you can trade a piece of artwork, and it still needs to be some type of transaction,
right? Yeah,
contract involved.
Yeah.
What kind of art pieces we talking about?
So, do you know the famous piece with the shark in the water?
Which one?
I can't remember the name of it, but there's a piece. I have a book. I'll send it to you. But I mean, these pieces are worth millions of dollars. So
that kind of art we talking about.
So they've already been appraised.
Yeah.
And then so if you're trading, and then like King Arthur, his sword, that's actually like somebody owns that.
So you've dealt with the trading and communication regarding a sword.
Right, yeah. He actually owned the sword. It was at his office. Or like really popular, or like people are starting to do them now, but there was an artist that was known for it first. He makes like a medieval basketball hoop.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, so if I traded my medieval basketball hoop with your King Arthur sword,
right,
I probably owe you some more money.
Right.
Because yours is probably worth a lot more.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so then you have to pay taxes on it, because if you do and then you don't, let's say that I don't give you any money, well, that's a gain for me.
Right.
Because I just got away with trading a lot. Rich people do it, actually. It's sort of like, it's actually a tax strategy. And rich people do it to save money in taxes when they are buying art. And instead of buying art directly from the artist, they buy art. They trade them with their friends at times. It's very interesting, but yeah. So everyone, I do have clients that are doing the same types of things. It really just is the limitations. But everyone, I mean, I think people are doing very well. A lot of people are struggling from COVID, but a lot of people have just figured it out.
And do you think that's because like they pivoted their businesses, or they always had those savings banking accounts, and they strategized a long time ago?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, I have some already existing business owners that they had to close down shop during COVID, but is now back and running in another shop in another part of town and doing well. And then I have another client that she didn't have a business at all, but now she's at home working, and so now she has a lot of free time, and she's using her free time to invest into herself. Wow. And so she just started this e-commerce company, and she's doing well already. And so I guess it's just a little bit of everything. So I think for sure people shouldn't feel like there's nothing to do.
Right.
There's so much to do right now.
There's so many options. I remember you did an Instagram live about drop shipping.
Yeah.
And that's like not even having the product within your own home, like it's elsewhere, and you have
right.
to strategize and you have to market it properly and just have good relationships where you're pulling the merchandise from. And I thought that was a really good idea and concept to talk about during COVID. I wanted to do it, but then things started picking up for Noir Bud, and I was just like, I don't even have time to manage and market a whole different business. but I thought it was a good idea for other people. Like
Yeah.
even vitamins, like you can sell vitamins and drop ship. Like you can sell
Anything.
blankets, anything. So I thought that was a really good
Yeah.
vibe that you did. And I kind of feel like as a business owner, I don't know, because I don't have a lot of friends in the CBD space. Like I see my competitors, I see what the customer needs, and that's who I feel like I only consider. I don't consider anyone else's CBD business. I only look to see what my customers want. And I never really understand how to gauge if my business is doing well. So how can someone who's starting out new and wanting to see their business continue past the 3-year mark and, they want to pivot, they want to build out their product or their offering, how am I supposed to know if I am doing good as a business owner?
I mean, I think that you should be tracking like by quarter how well the business is doing. I also think that, I understand. I also operate in the same way of like, don't worry about, I believe it's like, it's one of the laws of power to operate and not worry about the competition and just worry about yourself. And I try to operate that way as well. But I do think that it's important to use the competition as sort of like a benchmark. Even if they're not doing better than you, but maybe they're offering a different kind of product.
Right.
And just like monitoring what they're doing. But I really do feel for a business, as long as you are like keeping up with your industry, really mastering your industry, like really putting that 10,000 hours into your industry, then you will figure out on your own just new and exciting ways of, how to build out the next revenue stream.
Like how does a company or a business owner look at their financials and say, what am I supposed to be doing quarterly, monthly, whatever? What should we be looking towards financially?
So I like to say that a number would be 50,000. So, I don't think that anyone needs an accountant until they've made a profit of 50,000 or more. And that's because, really at 50,000, you are probably just starting out. You could go through your own categories. You could go through your own bank statements. You probably don't want to, but you could.
I hate looking at the numbers.
I think, no one does. Neither do I. No, I'm kidding.
But you're the accountant.
No. It could
be a little draining.
No, it is. Like looking at the details. I have an assistant, but I, for sure, seeing the numbers come together for me is way more interesting than the details. And then we drill down into the details when I'm speaking to the client. But I think what I've seen is so I've worked with both someone who's under 50 and someone who's over 50. And I think that it really just depends on the person. But some clients have, after we do dive into the details, I give them a summary. I give them financial statements. And then I also give them a summary of every single expense. I put it in Excel, and then I make charts and tables. I go over how to sift through that if you wanted to. And then we drill into the details of it all, and we try to figure out, travel here is saying, 15,000. Does that look about right? And then we drill down, and then, that's when you start to see that trip to Mexico, I actually used my personal credit card. That's not on there. And that was a business trip. And I think that some people actually, once I get it started for them, that they will take it over because they want to see. And I think that, seeing what last month was like actually will inspire you to do more for next month.
Right.
Once you actually can have you can pinpoint okay, last month I made $5,300 net. My net number was $5,300. How much time was I working last month? Did I work? Did I take the weekends off last month? Did I wake up at 12 last month? Did I, what was my level of productivity last month? And figuring that out, and then also reassessing, like, maybe your prices need to go up then. Maybe, you felt like you did wake up at 12, however you were productive, and you did take your weekends. We're entitled to our weekends. I think entrepreneurs for sure feel like we're not entitled to our weekends. And also feeling like, we have to wake up at the beginning of a business day. And I mean, I don't think that there is, I don't think that we have to, that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is actually those really late nights that you're up and you're just like in the lab, like you're just like getting it out. But I do think that if you knew what last month looked like, you would be able to just reassess, like, what is my hourly? And not saying that you should be charging, because I mean, a lot of people say, don't charge based off of your hourly, charge based off of your worth. But the only way that you're going to figure out what your worth is knowing what you did last month.
Right.
Like we don't even really know how long. For me, I'm usually charging a client once a year. And so I don't really know that this client is going to end up taking me 40 hours, and the one that I just charged the same price is going to take me 15. I don't know that until the end of the year. And so I have to gauge, and then I have to monitor my hours even more, just way more detailed. Whereas, like, I look at my phone bill to track how long I've been speaking to different phone numbers. To really figure out, because I mean, it's just so easy to just like if I answer my phone at 9 a.m., I'm not getting any of my work done, because that means I'm going to keep answering my phone. And then those calls where people just call and they have a quick question, there's no such thing.
Right.
Those calls those are not recorded in my calendar. I'm not charging those calls back to my little clock timer that I use. And this year's such a funky year, but I have way more time to figure that out. So I have been able to just figure out which client is taking me more time, and then being able to assess that, I need to charge more. And I wouldn't know that unless I was paying attention to their details. And I mean, I look at everyone's books. So I do my tax return on the last day. I extend it out, and then I do it on the last day every year, because I don't have time to just do my own tax return. But I'm still looking at what happened the month before.
Right.
I still know, like, what my profit number is. Tax return, I just feel like, I can just put the numbers in there later, because I already know what my profit numbers are. And so I think that, bring it back to 50,000. So 50,000. And then after 50,000, then I do think that you need an accountant. And if you're actually not monitoring what's going on in the year before, then, the books are a mess.
Right. But you just touched on another point. It's like you say entrepreneurs should take time. They should be okay with starting at whatever time they feel comfortable, as long as they're productive. But how do you manage that? Being that you're the person that oversees so many different numbers that helps people thrive, right? And helping them get into alignment of their business. Where do you take time for Dora? And what does that even look like?
That's a good question. I actually, I don't know. I have my moments, like, I really try not to. I'll have times when I have a couple months or a couple weeks where I am waking up at 7 a.m. every day. And then I have a couple days where I'm up until 4 a.m. So I'm definitely not waking up at 7 a.m.
Okay. So I'm curious, because you manage everyone else's books. You manage how they do things, how they stay in alignment with their business. And then you said you do your stuff at the end of the year on the last day.
Yeah.
That is stressful. So how do you maintain Dora throughout this whole entire time? Like, how do you give back to yourself?
So, that's a really good question, because I mean, so now my schedule has actually changed, where I just got rid of all my contracts, and I let them go because I am moving to a completely different.
I do that. That shocked me.
What?
That you dropped all your contracts. Like, but what about the money?
Oh yes, right. The money. I mean, you know what? It was a really long. It took me a long time to even make the decision, but I had 180 clients at the top of this year, right? Yeah, and I think in the beginning I used to say that with pride, like, oh, I have 180 clients. But now I just think oh my God, I am just stretching myself so thin, and I don't even know how I was able to do it, but I did it. And now, so I got rid of 75.
Wow.
So now,
still a big number though.
Still a big number, but everyone's not a business owner. And a lot of people don't need me throughout the year.
Right.
And so, and a lot of them are audits. So
so it's
still drop off.
categorized
Yeah.
neatly.
So it's probably a good 60 right now. Which that is a great number where I felt comfortable enough to be able, I actually feel like I'm quitting my job all over again. Because now I won't be getting, there's no safety net. I used to have a contract that if I had availability, there was more work for me to do. And so, of course, I was taking all of that work, which meant that even on vacations, I was working. Even at the pool, I was working. At airports, on the plane, wherever I had service, just trying to make sure I could get some kind of hours in to either, talk to the client, finish the tax returns, go through the books, something. And I was really driving myself insane. I really wasn't.
That sounds tough.
Yeah. I mean, it was different. It wasn't like being at the office working 80 hours a week. It was different. I still had, my me time. And I was still able to work when I wanted to work. But it was just, it meant different things. My time meant different things. It meant for me that my business was growing. My knowledge was growing. My experience was growing.
Right.
And so I just wanted more. I just give me more. And then last year, it was my first year breaking 6 figures. And thank you. And now I'm okay, you could do this a little different. You could work smarter now.
Right.
And so getting rid of the contract is now, my life is completely different. Most of my clients are April 15th clients or March 15th. So, we're not talking right now. Or we talked last month heavy because it was 3Q. But now everyone's just, off, managing their own business. I have a couple retainer clients that I speak to every month, which this is the way I want to build my business. I want to have retainer clients. I want to have less April 15th clients and more retainer clients. April 15th is that's great. That's that's the money time. I know that I'll always have a lot of clients I'll always be busy during those months. But really building out this brand of to be there for businesses, I need to have the retainer clients. And so, I mean, it's my schedule is just way more organized. My schedule is really, working on the business, so right now I'm preparing for next season. But next season is going to be so different because I don't have a contract anymore. So I'm going to have so much time. Even right now, I have so much time to myself. And so just getting back to that and being able to look at my expenses. I mean, yes, it's great. You should look at it every month. But every month is some months are actually going to be very busy, Yeah. And so just being able to it's really a wonderful thing.
So it's something you haven't even tapped into in so long that it's you are reintroducing yourself to balance.
Yeah. And for so long, I would actually never even talk about being an entrepreneur. I definitely shied away from mentioning it or posting, about being an entrepreneur because in the beginning it was hard. It wasn't what we see on Instagram of, you know, it's so cool to be an entrepreneur. It was hard. Every single day it was hard. You know, clients calling, 180 people calling me, asking me for different things every day, not knowing when I answer my phone, did this person just have a bad day? Because, you know, everyone, taxes, no one cares about paying their taxes. Like, especially, we know, like, Trump didn't pay his taxes. So
Right.
no one cares about paying their taxes. They don't want to hear, I have a bad call every single day because I have to tell someone, okay, I'm done. You owe the government $8,000. Like, what? What do you mean? I paid my taxes, though, during the year. Yes, but you made a lot more money at the end of the year. I know it was a great time. It was Christmas. I know you were flourishing, but
Right, but you still got to pay.
and now you have to pay taxes on that
Now
amount.
they mad at you.
And now it's like, what? And then it's like, oh yeah, and now this is my fee, you know?
Right.
And it's just never it's never an easy conversation with anyone. So we have to describe to them why they owe, or like, you know, I didn't owe last year. Why do I owe this year? Or, you know, I heard that I could get this deduction. And so, I mean, being able to just take that away from me, being able to take that work away from me, I know that like next year is just going to be completely different. And so right now my days are just a lot more relaxed. Whereas like I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym, I finish my work, I'm at the post office by the end of the day, and then I'm cooking dinner. Pretty simple as that, actually. Whereas before, it was waking up at 7 a.m. because I have to speak to the IRS as soon as they open because the phone lines are crazy. It's crazy wait time. And then from 3 to 6, taking a break because I need to go to the post office still. And I need to eat because I probably haven't ate all day. And then from 6 to 11, calling back the IRS because they are open until 11 p.m. So my entire day was just work. But yeah, so I mean, I just try to live by my own rules, which is, you know, did I finish my to-do list? And if I didn't, like, can I finish it tomorrow? As long as I'm like finishing the hard deadlines and like following up with people. I just really try not to be hard on myself if I don't wake up early. I am definitely the person that loves their sleep. Like, I love sleeping. I do. I can't even lie. I do.
It takes me a minute to fall. I'm like, I could do without.
Oh, wow, no. No. Every day I gotta have like 7-8 hours legit. And sometimes it's like, how am I sleeping this much? But I don't take naps. Like, I know a lot of entrepreneurs that take naps, and I'm not shaming
That
the
throws
naps.
people off. I don't know how they do that either.
Yeah,
I just don't like sleeping. I think the whole concept of sleep, the 8-hour thing, the nap thing, I don't get it.
Oh, wow. See,
But I think for you, going forward, I think what you need to do is create business hours where people can actually call you. Because I feel like, again, no, we don't give ourselves like this space to be humans while being entrepreneurs. But I also think that as Black people and brown people were flourishing in these businesses, I think it is important to create these boundaries where you can call me during my business hours. Like, I may not have a brick and mortar store for you to come to and do these things and services that I offer, but like, don't call me after 6 p.m. because you wildin'.
Yeah.
So I want.
I mean, I would love to do that, but you know what people do? They DM me. And I actually, when it's tax season, I probably won't. I mean, I'm going to try this year, try better. But last year I didn't post all the way up until, or I didn't really post all the way up until July 15th because I started to notice if I post on my story, I was getting a call. My client was reminded of their taxes. And it was like, it was great because that means we were finishing things, but it was also like, it was just no way to separate personal from business time. Right. But I do need to create boundaries for everyone, and just be really strict with everyone. But taxes is so personal. Yeah. That I have developed relationships with just about everyone. And so sometimes
there's an ease.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, but definitely Self-care is important
Yes, it
for
is.
the business to run.
Because without the self-care, you can't run your business if you're sick, right? Even if you're running it sick, it's still not your best. You may
Right.
not feel that great about it. But my last question is, I ain't trying to get into the six figures like that's, I'm trying to be like you. I want six figures too. But how should people manage their personal finances to flourish, or, you know what I mean? Like create opportunities to invest not only in yourself and your business, but like outside of that, maybe a home or something like that.
I think so. What I have actually just started to do is create just different bank accounts. So I have 3 personal accounts.
Okay.
And I have 3 business accounts, and then I also have 1 personal savings account.
So 3 personal banking accounts, 3 business banking accounts, and then a separate savings somewhere off the shore.
No, I wish. That's not that much money in there.
I'm just saying, we live in large and in charge. I'm going to have offshore.
One day.
One day.
Yeah, no. So, okay. So I have the multiple accounts because, it's just easier for me. What I do is the money comes into my business, personal. Business checking. So that's business 1 account. And then I disperse the money out. So 1 personal account is me paying myself. So that's me paying myself. So I'm rewarding myself for my hard work. So that's my account for like my little goodies, like my lifestyle things, like going out, shopping, and traveling. That is, and I actually have been thinking maybe I should split that account up, but that's the way, that's the account that I'm paying myself with. And then I have an amount when I get paid that goes into another business 2 account. And that is for all of the recurring business expenses. So I already know how much that is every month, and just making sure that that's there, that's paid for. All of my expenses are paid for. And then personal 2 account is for all of my personal expenses. So my rent, I pay my rent with my personal card. A lot of people ask, can you pay it with your business? You can. It doesn't really matter.
Because there might be like rental space.
Yeah, but because you're only taking a portion of it, so it doesn't matter if you use the personal or the business account. You can't write off your full amount of your personal rent. So personal 2 account is for like all of the recurring personal expenses. And then my business 3 account is for things that I want to, like goals for the business, to take the business to the next thing. So right now what I am doing is I'm doing a complete like rebranding, and all of that money is going like there, and just figuring out what the budget is, because I need new content for the website. I'm going to have to book models to shoot. I'm going to have to book a photographer. Also just like building out a client portal, things like that, and being able to, okay, this is the budget for it. And then being able to figure out who I can afford and who I can't, to actually like execute the project. And then I think that's it. Did I name all of them? And then there's personal 3 account, which I know. So there's only 2 personal, and then there's a savings.
Okay.
So yeah, so 3 personal and then 3 business accounts. And for me, it's just actually keeping me like just way more disciplined with my spending, because I mean, I want to shop too. Like if I have a bad day, I want to buy something.
Yeah, I have a bad habit. I'm just trying to maintain. Trying to not shop so much.
So it's definitely gotten worse over quarantine, but
I don't understand.
I really try. I really have. I am really proud of the things I bought though, but I'm really
You've
trying.
got some new recent art pieces. I'm like, oh, now I want art. I don't want any more shoes. I want art now.
Oh my God, it's such an expensive hobby, but I love it. But I don't know. I'm trying to actually, or buying all of the art, it was like to make me like want to be in my home
Yeah.
and like just make me feel good about the things that I have, and not being ashamed of like buying these bigger ticketed items because I deserve them. And actually, while I'm working at home and looking at them in my living room, it helps looking at it. It helps, it helps glancing at it every now and then. Like, you know, I bought that. I could afford that piece. I bought that, and I'm going to buy another one from that artist. Or, you know, just being able to, and it's also investment pieces as well. And so I mean, that's how I told my, a therapist probably was telling me, no, that's not how it works.
I think, well, that's a new thing. I was telling you about that Instagram page, Blacker Unboxing.
Oh, yes. I still haven't even checked it out. I need to look at it.
But that's what they're highlighting. It's like we go through generations of holding on to like our accomplishments and like hiding away from showing something that we're proud to have. Even if it is a materialistic thing, it's still something that we worked super hard for, to pay for. It appeases us, it makes us happy, whatever. Why can't we talk about it? So that Instagram page is just making it a literal, like, just make it a norm. If you have certain luxuries, whether it is a pair of Nike sneakers or an art piece, still enjoy the space that you're in because you worked hard for it. Or you may have had a rough patch that you just want to celebrate coming out of. It doesn't even have to be a financial accomplishment. It could be a mental accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? So definitely check that out, because it is a large hump that I feel a lot of Black and brown women just feel that they need to get over.
Yeah.
Like, we enjoy our spaces. We enjoy going on vacation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that the man that we're with or woman that we're with bought it for us. We got it for ourselves.
Right. Yes.
You
yes.
know?
And we talked about that.
And people love to assume.
Yeah.
But
definitely just like feeling like it just comes off as bragging. Because we do know the women that, you know, it is, even the caption is like, you know, they're bragging about it. And I never want to come off that way. Or, you know, I always just want to be cognizant of even like people are struggling right now during COVID. And so, but at the same time, I have realized that I am letting so much time go by. Like, I am doing you know, I'm not doing justice for myself.
You're dimming your light.
Yeah, that, you know, like I am having, and being an entrepreneur, it's not like your friends at work when they get in a raise or they get a promotion. That's something very like definitive, you know, like we can
milestone.
Yeah, like that happened, and so now we can go out and celebrate. But like for an entrepreneur, you know, hiring an assistant, that is absolutely a milestone.
It's a big deal.
Having an intern, that's absolute. Even if you're not paying that person, having an intern, because you have to manage that person's schedule.
Right.
Your role as a business owner has changed. You know, landing a new client, you know, even that, I never would speak about that just because accounting is so private. I don't want people to know, you know, who I'm working with, but still, like for now, or at least now, I'm definitely in just a whole other space that, you know, I want to live a certain kind of lifestyle. And that is reflected in my work ethic. Yeah. And that is going to be reflected also in the things that I do, the things that I buy, and the clothes that I wear. And just the life that I live, and just being proud of those things. And not feeling like I can't celebrate myself. Yeah. I definitely do feel like it's just so easy, because it's just so easy to just let those things just pass us by, because being an entrepreneur, you are by yourself. Yeah. And so I have just made an effort to just, because it wasn't always great times. It wasn't always that I could afford those things. It was a point where I was living at my aunt's house because someone had just broken into my apartment and stole my computer. And I had no idea how I was going to be able to afford a computer because I had no clients. And, you know, so now just being able to just even have a savings account, first of all, like, right, a lot of business owners don't have that. Exactly. And it's important. I think that it is. I'm seeing like it is important to talk about it more, because we don't know who needs to hear that. You know, who
needs to be inspired. I mean, honestly, this whole conversation, I definitely felt that it's important to track your growth, you know, being responsible over your numbers, making an understanding with yourself. If you're going to start a business, then you have to be in tune and realize when you have to ask for help from someone who's an accountant who can look at the numbers and help you grow to the next level. And then also taking the time to set aside to enjoy those spaces that you're in when you have growth. And I do think it's important for people to talk about the downsides and the growth that they had, because other people at home have these concepts and ideas that they want to start, but they're like, how do they do it? You see the success, you see the happy parts, but no one talks about the part where I almost got caught up in a legal situation because I didn't know XYZ law, you know? And I think it is important to never dim your light going forward. You know, this is definitely a year where we're seeing the seeds are being planted for millionaires to grow. So I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us and like shed some light. I feel like we're going to need a part 2.
Yeah, I'm open to a part 2.
Yeah. But my one thing is, what is one gem that you want to give to the listeners as far as something that might keep them going? Oh, okay. Or something that, actually, you know, my last guest did this. They wrote it down.
No,
I love that.
But I didn't know. I didn't even know she was going to ask me this. This is totally random. I just always write things down.
But I think even as
me feel good.
Any entrepreneur, as soon as we see something that's like, oh my God, that just spoke to my soul, like we have to keep it because it's like we got to go back to it. So
that's because you know that it's going to be a day.
And
you just
want to quit
get out of bed. You're not going to want to send out that order.
I wanted to fire myself yesterday. Like, I'm done with her.
Yes, I've had those days. It's like, you know, you don't deserve this shit. Okay, so I heard this today. I didn't say it, but I heard this today, and it really, really spoke to me. I don't even say words like that. It really, really spoke to me. No. Okay,
the word.
It was really nice. Okay, so everything is of seed, time, and harvest. If you sow your seeds and you keep watering it, then why wouldn't what you are trying to grow harvest? And that, honestly, I just love that when it was a doctor that said this. And, you know, I think that it's sometimes just like really hard to just like get out of bed. Even in quarantine, it's just really hard to get out of bed. When it rains in New York, it's been raining a lot this week. There are days where I just don't feel productive whatsoever. There are days when I'm just struggling with trying to figure out these like new digital platforms and trying to understand them. And I just spend the whole day doing that. And I realized, oh my God, I didn't even do any work, but still being okay with that's okay, you know? And just being able to just continue the next day.
Right.
And just like keep going, like no matter what, just keep going. Like even if, actually yesterday I made my first TikTok. I sent it to you. I just sent it to you.
I thought it was such a cute idea.
Thank you. I thought it was cute too, but I hate it. And so
I'm try again.
But I'm gonna do it again. But I, you know, I went back and forth a couple times though, thinking about like, you know, I can't like hold on to perfection, and I need to just like get out content and move on because next time it'll be better.
Yes.
So I'm not doing the entire thing over. I'm going to just like fix it so that I'm not like overtalk. Cause there's a point where I overtalk myself.
But the concept is good.
Okay.
I think do what you want, but to someone who's looking from the outside in.
Yeah.
And I say this to all of my friends, even though I don't even listen to myself. Stop trying to be perfect. Just put the shit out.
No, you're right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing with this TikTok is like, it took so long. Like right. I can't,
difficult.
I would have to give myself another 5, maybe 4, maybe 3 hours. Maybe 3 hours I can finish it.
But the more you do it, you'll figure out how to manipulate that time. I still haven't, I haven't done a real TikTok ever. I'm going to just stick to Reels. It's a little bit easier.
No, and you know what? I haven't even figured out Reels.
It's easy.
That's what everyone
I
says, that
think
it's a
it
lot
is.
easier.
Yeah.
But I called myself, trying to clone myself. I just went all the way advanced TikTok. No, you need to start off as a beginner.
I like that though. It's like there's two of you. Oh my God. And it's like you wish there were two. But no, I can't wait for you to roll that out. But listen, Dora, I love you. And this was good.
Yeah, no, this is good.
We're
Thank
going to
you
need a
for
part 2
having
for
me.
business people, like another business segment, and
Yeah.
we'll dive into it more.
And we can use, like, if people have, like, questions, to just, like, ask a bunch of questions.
I think that's
I'm
what's
happy
going to
answer
happen.
them.
I think that's what's going to happen once we post it.
Yeah.
Because it's
about
going to
everything.
be, yeah.
Like sales tax, I know everyone's confused. Just ask them. And it really is a very quick questions.
Yeah.
Sales tax questions are very quick questions.
So we'll open up the table for that for the next portion.
Yeah.
What kinds of questions people have.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, boo.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was fun.